What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Highlight Reel. I'm Bill Rom.
Josh Spiro.
And today's headliner is brought to you by Backspin Tee. Backspin Tee is a revolutionary advancement to the standard tee designed to change the way a batter looks and hits the ball. Backspin Tee, turning the game upside down. This week's headliner is Andrew McCutchen gets traded to the San Francisco Giants from the Pirates. What was your first reaction?
I mean, they've been trying to trade McCutchen for a long time. It was just speculation. And the Giants' name has been in there for a little bit this past offseason. I think it's a good fit for McCutchen. It's a good fit for the Giants. The Giants are a team that takes clubhouse guys and guys that are married, guys that have families, guys that are, just those your good ball player kind of, like Longoria, same guy, married, not going out. Like, look at that whole Giants team. Pence, you name them up and down, Crawford. They all have wives. It's just that kind of camaraderie that they've built up, kind of team that they've built as a how they mesh. So I think it helps the Giants. I think McCutchen has a lot left to prove, a lot left in the tank. Is he the same MVP candidate he was 5 years ago? No. But he's also a very good ball player. He's going to, I think he fits very well in San Francisco. I think San Francisco is going for it all again. They're a team that's older now. They're very much over 30. Even Buster Posey and Crawford and Panic's probably the younger guy out of all of them, but the other guys, they're getting up there. Posey's been around the league for a while.
Posey, I feel like he made his debut young, so he's been around for a long time, and he's not as old as his name is. But what's your idea? What do you think is the deal with McCutchen? What do you predict next year for his role, and what do you predict in terms of stat line?
So I think he'll be the starting left fielder. I think they'll leave Pence and right. I think the Giants are going to try to find a center fielder. They're going to try to go after a guy like Billy Hamilton or possibly J.D. Martinez and put McCutchen center if that's the case. I think he'll maybe hit between 260 to 280. 22 home runs, maybe around there. It's it's a different, bigger ballpark. But I think the energy and the swagger he brings back to that team, almost like when they had Pablo Sandoval, he was like that guy with like that cocky swagger, but like he showed it on the field. McCutchen's a little less out there than Panda was, but he's got that swagger. He brings a little youth, a little energy, a little dance moves, all that stuff they did with the Pirates back to the Giants, which I think they need. But I don't think he's going to bat like 310, 320. I think he's going to hit like 260 to 280. But he'll be a very productive player for them.
Do you think he has the same season he had last year, or do you think it's more similar to 2 years ago? Or do you think it's somewhere in the middle?
I think he'll be just where he was about last year. Last year, he had a very good year. He was down in the beginning, came back up second half. I think he'll be around the same thing. I think it's going to be an adjustment period for anybody,
If you think that he's going to be the same player that he was last year, which was a pretty solid baseball player, money aside, you also have just added Longoria.
Yeah.
You have Pence. You have a pretty solid lineup now.
Their lineup's very nice.
And San Fran's always been known for their pitching. And they still have some prospects still left in the pipeline who can make their debuts and impact the game from a pitching perspective. Where do you think that this trade puts San Francisco right now in terms of the National League?
They're in a tough division again because I think both the Diamondbacks and the Rockies are both legitimate teams. I think the Diamondbacks more so than the. I mean, it depends. I think if the Diamondbacks re-sign J.D. Martinez, that helps them out a lot because he helped carry that team. He hit like 40-something home runs in the second. It was ridiculous. I think if J.D. Martinez doesn't sign with the Diamondbacks, I think that actually slots them below the Giants. I still think they're a good team. But with that being said, the Giants still have Bumgarner. They're going to have him. They're going to have Cueto. They're going to have guys like that. Tyler Beede, who's one of their top prospects, is slotted to be in the fifth slot.
Yep.
And who knows what he could be. He's a potential number one or number two in the future. But at least he'll be up.
And then Pence, Posey, McCutchen, Longoria,
Crawford, Panic.
That
lineup's good.
My point is, I actually, for me, I see them winning that division.
Over the Dodgers, huh?
I see them winning that division.
I don't see that.
I don't love the Dodgers team. Like, I really don't. I feel like you had a lot of things break right from last year, and they've been good for years now. But you've seen San Francisco do this before. where it looks like Dodgers spend all this money. They look like they have a good team. San Francisco Giants come out of nowhere because they've got solid pitching from top to bottom. Now, if I told you we make it to the playoffs, which team would I rather have? Probably going to tell you I'd rather go with the Dodgers. But if I'm looking at this lineup right now, if I feel like McCutchen's going to have better protection than he's had in recent time.
Yeah.
Posey's going to have better protection than he's had in recent time. Like, who bats third? Posey?
Yeah.
Who bats fourth? Longoria?
Yeah.
Who bats fifth? Hence?
I mean, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing you got to
McCutchen's either one or two?
The only thing you got to understand with the Giants is that their bullpen has been a rough go. This past year was miserable. And that's what the Dodgers have. They have Kenley Jansen. They have other guys in the bullpen who it's shutdown time like the Yankees were this past year. The Giants still didn't really figure that out yet. If Mark Melancon can come around and be the closer he was when he was at other teams, then they're looking better. But their bullpen's still
But I
really
always feel
shaky.
like bullpen is such a year-to-year thing. Like, you don't have consistent return on bullpens from one year to the next. And that's my biggest thing I'd say even about the Dodgers is if you're relying on your bullpen being the reason why you're going to be a dominant team.
Yeah, I mean.
And you didn't go out and trade for a second closer who's a dominating pitcher like the Yankees did when they had two closers on one team and they had an eighth and a ninth inning where, hey, it's over now. You don't have that. And the Yankees have always seemed to like that. They want their setup man and their closer to be great. If you don't have that, if you're not in that area, I feel like pitching can go south for you very quickly, especially in a bullpen. Guy has a bad year. Guy didn't train as hard. Guy didn't do this. He just a couple rough breaks and it ruins his confidence. The starting rotation gets rocked a couple times. That forces the bullpen out early in the season, and they're exhausted at the end of the season. Like, so much of a bullpen, to me, is so dependent upon year-to-year fluctuations, unlike anything else, because you're going in for one inning. But how many innings are you going to pitch? You pitch 80. That means you're pitching every other game.
Well, I mean, I think you're right with the Dodgers that a little bit of everything went right for them.
Yeah.
Turner had an insane year. Everyone had a career year, right?
Yeah.
Like, it was the same thing with the Astros. You know, you had Josh Reddick bat 300. When was the last time Josh Reddick batted 300?
Look at the Mets.
Right, like when they had that year.
The Mets go to the World Series.
Baseball is such a fluctuation.
They've dropped 30 games off their pace in a 2-year time span. And it's almost the exact same team. But so many things, variables, alter and change. Now, I'm not going to tell you Daniel Murphy was worth 30 games for the Mets. But that player was a great player that helped them get there, right? They let that guy walk away, and they've been regretting it ever since. And you look at teams, and I just feel like if you're relying upon an area of your team that you can't predict year to year,
it's tough.
I think it's tough. When you look at the Giants, it's why I feel they went out and they got McCutchen and Longoria, is because even if you take the guys' floors, you know that their floor is not going to be an abysmal player.
All I have to say is that if the Giants are in the playoffs, they're a very scary team because combine that with all those other guys' experience, with Longoria and McCutchen wanting to win a World Series, watch out.
And that's my point. I feel like this is going to be two motivated former all-star, high caliber players that just got traded in the offseason. Like your team that you've been on forever just said bye Felicia to you and is walking away, and it's like, all right, cool, be gone.
It's gonna be
and now you're in this situation where you got to look at it and say, hey, we can compete if we show up. You know, we're a month away from report dates. Guys better be hyped for what this season could be if you're a Giants guy.